Hello.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Kat. Oh, we're so not centered.
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby.
And welcome to Swift Floor, where we talk about Welcome to Swift Floor, where we talk about the lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely. That's why we're here.
Taylor's back on tour.
Woo. We lost Labyrinth. Boo.
I know. We posted an Instagram poll of like what song hurt the most because she did the very first night in Labyrinth, and like literally it was the very first night Labyrinth, they both hurt or neither hurt, and 42% of people who did the poll, which was like 60 or 70 people, like voted for Labyrinth hurt the most. Yeah. But then also I saw somebody comparing the way that she looked when at the beginning of the tour or like mid-tour when she sang the song from 50 Shades of Grey. Mm-hmm. And she like looked like she was gonna cry, like I just dodged a bullet or lost the love of my life, to the I'm falling in love again.
Ow.
Travis is no, we're not talking about Travis.
We can talk about Travis, my roommate.
Well, Travis, your roommate, is not in Argentina right now.
He sure isn't. He's at my home.
That makes sense. Also, so we're record. I wish I knew how to speak. It's been we're recording this on November 11th, like first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. And last night everybody thought she was going to announce Rep TV or just surprise drop Rep TV, but then she ended up having to cancel the show because of the weather in Argentina. Mm-hmm. Bummerino.
You know what? For a second, I did have a thought where I was like, so Taylor Swift is God, right? I was like, this is a honey, you've got a big storm coming situation where she was like, I will make the rain happen and then drop Rep at the same time for drama.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Another reason why people like thought, so like obviously there's like 1,000,001 theories about why like people thought Rep was going to get announced or dropped last night. But one of them that like is actually credible is she changed her Midnight's outfit to an all black bodysuit. I saw pictures and I was like, is that the lighting? It's not the lighting.
All right, let's talk about what this episode is.
This is the All Too Well 10-minute version from the Vault, Taylor's version episode.
Including the All Too Well short film.
So only one song this week, but it's the length of like several songs. So
this is going to be a long one. So
it's going to be a big one.
And also, both of us really went for it with these notes. So be prepared to get emotional.
Quick little content warning for this episode. We talk a lot about toxic relationships. Mm-hmm. So if that is going to be triggering to you, I would recommend skipping this episode.
If you're specifically sensitive to age gaps, to we talk about things like, gaslighting and things like that. And if that's sensitive for you, then maybe don't check this one out.
Maybe go listen to last week's episode again. That one was fun.
Yeah. We could talk about our hint songs for last week and our outfits of the day.
Yes. My hint song was Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo because I'm doing the lyrics and I feel like that matches up. Mm-hmm. And
my song was Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, which got a resurgence last year from the release of Stranger Things Season 4. And the shirt that I am wearing is Sadie Sink in the show being lifted, like a famous image from the show. And it's got Running Up That Hill on the bottom. It's a really cool sweater. It's like
it's really cool. When she took off her other sweater, because it's cold as fuck out, I was like, oh my God.
I love the sweater so much it hurts. It was given to me by my other roommate, and we love it.
Sorry. So now we just dive in, right?
All too well.
There's no pretty wind chimes this week.
No.
Only fear.
No. Get ready, guys.
We'll ease you into it though.
This is a journey
because we'll start with some background info. This is track 30 on Red Taylor's version. Ooh. I thought that was right, and then I had to look it up because I was like, there's no way there's 30. There's 30 tracks on Red Taylor's version. Which also because on Red TV she included like Acoustic State of Grace and a million Vault songs and like songs that she wrote for other people and stuff. Mm-hmm. I have thoughts on like why 1989 TV had so few Vault songs, but I won't get into that right now because we have
a
we
mission.
have so many things to cover.
Ooh, yeah.
This song was written by Taylor and Liz Rose, who also wrote You Belong With Me and like a bunch of other Taylor songs, and originally was produced by Nathan Chapman, who produced a lot of her first 4 albums. And then the re-record was produced by Jack Antonoff. We stan. This track was featured on several publications' best of lists, including Rolling Stone's 2021 revision of the 500 greatest songs of all time.
Wow.
It is number 69. On the one hand, why is it not higher? On the other hand, so funny.
You know that. Wait, you know what? I was going to make a math joke and I realized I was wrong. So never mind.
Gay rights.
I can't do math. I was going to say 69 is divisible by 13, and I don't think that's true.
I mean, it's not in a whole number way, but like
if you think about it.
If you think about it, it's kind of fun. We're going to
13, there's at least 13 numbers within.
Yeah, 5.307.
So there you go, Easter egg.
Wait. There's 6-9 in the multiple. Easter egg.
Okay, so it's number 69. That's really cool, and as well it should be. This song is great.
There's also the Sad Girl Autumn version, which is more depressing than the original, because I guess Taylor thought we weren't emotionally destroyed enough. Was also nominated at the Grammys in 2023 for Song of the Year, and it lost to Bonnie Raitt's song that I forgot to write the name of, and I don't remember because I've never heard it. Fair enough, Bonnie Raitt, but also, was your song on the 500 greatest songs of all time number 69? I don't think so. It won the iHeartRadio Music Award for the best lyrics, and it's the longest song to ever go to number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100 chart. Performance history. Obviously, this is on the Eras tour. We saw it. Apparently people thought that All Too Well 10-minute version was the time to go to the bathroom during the concert, and I'm like, 22 is right there.
Rude.
That's when I went to the bathroom.
22 was fun, though.
It was
cute.
fun.
She's cute.
And I did miss her giving out the hat, but I wasn't getting it.
There was so much concert.
Yeah. And but how, like, I know that you can leave during the song and you return the song still going on, but like, as you'll be able to see from the amount of notes that I have on this song, there's not a moment to spare.
No. This song, it also goes by quick.
It's a quick 10 minutes.
This is why this song,
why I said 10 like that.
I use this song to track like 10-minute intervals sometimes.
I remember when you used to do like
cardio
into this. I don't know how you did that.
It was motivating. It was like the anger motivation, the anger sadness. But at the time I was going to the gym and it was 10 minutes of cardio. That was part of the plan. And so and this had just come out. So I was like, All Too Well, 10-minute version, we'll run to it. And I was just like so invested in the story. I wasn't thinking about how much I hate running.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Other performances, she performed at the short film launch in New York City. Just acoustic with her little guitar. That's what acoustic means. And then she performed it on SNL, which is just like, oh my God, what a magical performance that is. If you haven't watched that.
Also, her outfit
was just like a plain black long sleeve bodysuit.
Oh my God.
And just like the props, there was like leaves falling, there was snow falling.
Beautiful.
It just like she had the short film playing behind her for a lot of it. So good.
That body, like I think about that bodysuit all the time because it's just so gorgeous.
You're gay.
Yeah.
You're gay.
For sure.
Taylor loves a bodysuit.
As do I.
Because she also wears a bodysuit during the Eras Tour performance. I mean, it's like a short one, but it's still a bodysuit.
I love bodysuits, but they're annoying to pee in.
They are. They're really annoying.
We all know. If you've worn a bodysuit, you know.
I just got one that's like tangent. That's like a tank top one, and it's great because I don't have to like be pulling up my leggings every 10 seconds. But then when I have to pee, it's like a production, and I'm like naked because it also has like a built-in bra, so it's just like gotta make sure the door's locked every time.
There's something
make sure the dog can't nudge it open.
Vulnerable about sitting on the toilet completely naked.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway,
it's the naked. Personal connection notes. I've cried so many times to this song. The first time I listened to it, I didn't cry because I was just like, she said, fuck the patriarchy. But then I remember like the day it came out, I was at my parents' house because I was unwell and I couldn't be alone. And so I was already there. And then my mom like went out to do something. And so I was like listening to it and I was standing in the living room doing something and I just had to like sit down on the ground. And like my dog has like the emotional range of a teaspoon. But if you're like really upset, she'll come and lay on you. And that's how I know the song emotionally devastated me the first time I listened to it, because like she was fully across my lap as I was sitting on the like scratchy carpet in my parents' living room.
It's a rough one. Yeah. You were all too unwell.
I was all too unwell for sure. I actually cried to the song twice yesterday.
Wow.
Because I was like, I got to listen to it to like get it in the head before we, do this episode. And so like I listened to it. I was driving to my parents' house, cried. On the way home, I was like, I won't cry this time. I cried that time.
Sure.
Cried this morning on the way home from the gym listening to it.
We're just crying here.
It's seasonal. Also like just the setting of the song is so like fall, and like it's fall. There's still like leaves.
So
it's so gray.
I saw a comment on the short film that was like, Sadie Sink is just like autumn, but as a person.
True.
She really is. So here's the thing about the short film. Here's the things. Here's so many things.
Here are several things. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, so this short film was released on November 12th, 2021.
We watched it live together.
I threw a party for it.
You did.
I had a little Red Taylor's version party, and we all got dressed up, and I made cupcakes, and I had glasses of champagne with fake engagement rings at the bottom, and it was like a pack of 100 engagement rings, and there were only 4 people there, so that's why I had an extra fake engagement ring for the Champagne Problems episode. There you go. Now I can mention that fun fact.
We'll post some pictures on our story probably of that party.
One of our first TikToks on our account is from that night.
Yeah, maybe we'll repost
it if you want to look at it. We were not given a lot of time to process that this was happening. It was
not enough.
There was a teaser shown on Good Morning America on November 5th. So like a week before it dropped, that was like the car going down the road, and it was like All Too Well short film starring Sadie Sink and Dylan O'Brien, and all of us lost our minds. We had 1 week.
Oh.
It was literally like, that was not a lot of time.
Not enough.
It debuted on
still
YouTube.
Processing.
Still processing. It debuted on YouTube. It was probably like 7 or 8 p.m., something like that.
I think it was 7 p.m.
But it also was in select theaters through Universal Pictures. I didn't actually know it was in theaters. That's cool.
I feel like it was like probably just a couple of like New York theaters, or like LA or something, for like the premiere kind of vibes.
Yeah, and I love that.
Love that for her.
Critical reception, overwhelmingly positive. Everyone was just like, wow, Taylor Swift, you're an amazing director. Who's surprised? Who's surprised? She's amazing at everything.
She's never done anything wrong in her life.
Truly. This short film was nominated for an American Music Award, a Grammy Award, Hollywood. Hollywood Critics Association Award, Art Directors Guild Award, and it won Video of the Year and Best Direction at the 2022 MTV Video Music Awards, making Swift the first act in VMA history to win Best Direction for a self-directed work.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's so cool. Didn't she won the Grammy for Best Video, right? She wasn't just nominated. I thought she won that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't actually watched it since it came out because because it's so emotional for me.
It's so, honestly, I haven't watched it in a really long time. I didn't watch it before this episode because
It's a beautiful and incredibly difficult watch.
Yeah.
It is so well done, and that is why I didn't watch it for like 2 years, and then I watched it again to research this, and it's really powerful and just like really, I mean, wow. I got so emotional immediately.
Mood.
So a couple of other fun facts, because again, there's so much to go over. And by the way, we cannot cover everything. I wish we could.
We cannot, unless we made this a 2-parter, but I don't think we can make this a 2-parter.
No, so we'll try, and we're not going to cover everything. And sorry about that, but we're doing our best.
We're not going to cover anything. Get out. We're done.
No, bye. That's all you get. So the film briefly had the highest rating on Letterboxd before Parasite regained the status. That's kind of fun. And then there's a legacy section for this on Wikipedia, because this can officially be called a cultural reset.
Yeah.
Google searches of Sadie Sink and Dylan O'Brien were at an all-time high. Michael Bublé used the film as an inspiration for one of his music videos. People were complaining like this should have won an Academy Award. Yeah, it should have. The Queen's University at Kingston in Canada offers a fall semester course titled Taylor Swift's Literary Legacy, Taylor's Version. And on the syllabus, it requires students to watch and analyze this short film.
Oh, that's incredible. I want to take that class.
Me too. And also, Searchlight Pictures announced that Taylor has written an original script and will direct her debut feature film. We have no more details on that.
So excited. She did a Directors on Directors episode for Variety. I would recommend watching it if you are interested in that.
Oh, there was also a behind-the-scenes video that came out on December 8th.
Yes.
Where we got to see a little bit of her directing style and how things came together. And I'll be referencing a few of those things during my breakdown. But overall, I just love her directing style. It's giving like Greta Gerwig. Like, you know that viral video of Greta directing Lady Bird? Okay. There's a Rose Garden scene where she's like, oh my gosh, you're running through the field. You're so in love. Oh no, kissing. You're so excited. And she's like, has so much this like energy and this exuberance. And she's so passionate about the work. And Taylor had that same, like I felt it. It was great. We love you, Taylor. Did you know that we love you? Were you aware?
Did you know that we like Taylor Swift? I know it's not obvious yet from everything about us.
Oh, goodness. Also, it's recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records to be the longest song to top the charts. So
That
that's
makes
fun.
sense.
Okay, so the casting. This features two characters, her and him. They are not given names. It is, of course, let's just get it out of the way, widely speculated that this song is about a certain actor that Taylor dated around the time Red came out. For the purposes of my own ethical reasons, I am not going to shit talk Jake Gyllenhaal. I will shit talk him, the character of him.
Yes, should talk the partner, but we also don't know. She's
don't
never
know.
confirmed it
No.
because then she would get sued.
But also, she really did dress Dylan O'Brien in a kind of way.
Also, I mean, do you talk about how Dylan O'Brien and Jake Gyllenhaal have some parallels in the casting choices?
I don't have that note, but you can definitely mention it. I also did want to mention that when someone asked him, like, oh, are you playing Jake Gyllenhaal? He just said, actually, I think my character's name is Brandon.
I fucking love.
So Dylan O'Brien, we stand.
We stand. Dylan Taylor's version was his like Twitter user for a while there.
Yes, I literally love him so much, and I love Sadie Sink so much, and apparently Taylor does too, because they were both her first choices.
Yeah, and I think that because wasn't it like she reached out to Sadie like immediately and was just like, "You're my first choice. Please do this, please."
Yes, and Sadie, without hesitating, was like, yes. And I have the reason why she really wanted to do it is because she wanted to play a more well-rounded character, different from Max Mayfield, because she was also kind of doing the Stranger Things thing at the same time.
True, because everybody knows her as playing like a freshman in high school, and like one thing that's. Sorry, I don't want to step on your toes. I don't know what your notes say.
Oh, well, the last note I had on the casting was just that Taylor said that if Sink turned down the offer, she would not have made the movie.
That's crazy. I mean, like, thank God Sadie said yes, right?
Sadie, I love you.
Sadie, I love you. Dylan, I love you. So one thing that's interesting about also the casting choices is the way that she used the public perception of the actors that she chose to mimic like herself and allegedly the person that she was dating. They also have the same age gap, I believe.
It is
of
very
9
close.
years.
So Sadie Sink is 19 and Dylan O'Brien is 30 at the time of its release. So
It's 11.
It's 11
and they
years.
Were 9 years is the actual.
if we're to be believed, it's talking about that relationship, then yes. Yes.
So that, and then also the idea of like how Sadie Sink is viewed in like a very like childish way because of the character she portrayed, and Taylor Swift at the time of like Red and everything, or like because she wrote this song during the Speak Now era, which is just like,
yeah,
the fact that she just that's so crazy. But like her perception at the time was like silly little girl. Like she was very like innocent portrayal. And then
kid.
Exactly. And Dylan O'Brien, love him so much. He hasn't been doing a ton of stuff in recent years, mainly because he had like a really bad onset injury during a stunt.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same as when she was dating allegedly Jake Gyllenhaal. He hadn't really been doing stuff for a while at the time that they were dating. So it's kind of like she used the public perception of the actors that she chose to mimic the public perception of her and her like alleged boyfriend.
And also you look at these two people, and Dylan O'Brien is well known for being Styles on Teen Wolf, which was a long freaking time ago now.
Yeah.
And like, so we're thinking about him being a teenager, and we're just like, wait, that was a while ago. He's old. Like that's kind of the association that you have.
Yeah, and like he looks like they visibly.
Oh God!
It's kind of like you look at them kissing, and you're like,
it's gross. The first time I saw it, it's gross.
It's gross, and so you're just like, oh, she did a genius casting choice because she chose people who are well known, who like have a legacy in media, that mimic like her and her ex. Just so interesting and so genius. And that makes sense why she'd be like, if Sadie didn't do it, I would have said no, because she needed somebody not only who could like do the acting amazingly, she also needed that like public perception piece. And
Sadie bodies this freaking role.
She bodies it.
So a couple of other notes. Now we're going to get emotional. We're going to talk a bit about now
to make it about Abby.
I'm making it about teenage girls. So
I'm just a teenage girl who's 26, you know?
That's all I am, you know? Okay. So I already mentioned that I hadn't watched this in a really long time, and I was already in my 20s when it came out, but you have a different perspective on things when you're in your 20s about this relationship than I did when this song originally came out. I was in high school. You kind of think about it differently.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrific to watch now.
Yeah.
It's really horrific.
It's really hard to watch. It's like, it gives the vibe of like 29 by Demi Lovato.
Yeah, it does. And there's been a huge resurgence lately in media talking about older men preying on younger women. And even though it is legal, they're over 18, the maturity gap is so much. So then I wrote a little narrative thing because obviously I did. And this hurts. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to hurt. Okay, we're going to get through this together.
Okay.
Should
we hold hands? I'm kidding, kind of.
Oh my gosh. I almost did it too. All right. So when we're 19, we feel grown up. And when we've been through a lot and we're more mature than our peers and we're around people older than us, they see us as grown up too, but we're not. And once we figure that out, usually due to being taken advantage of or manipulated, it's like the entire world falls apart and suddenly we don't know who we are or where we fit in. We're too old to be a kid, but we're too young to be a grown-up. We know too much, and we can never go back to feeling like we know everything because we don't. And anything can happen, and that's terrifying and vulnerable. And then I wrote a quote that Taylor said about, I just see the look in your eyes fading, the light. Taylor said, "She's fine, but she's not who we met. We're watching a person come of age."
Damn. How can a person know everything at 19 and nothing at 22?
18. Oh, I see. It was a pun.
No, it's the lyrics and nothing new.
Isn't but it's 18. But and here she's 19, so I'll allow it. We're both right.
That's how it works.
So anyway, yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was narrative therapy. That's the last little note. So narrative therapy is a form of therapy that I really enjoy, where you basically take your story and you tell it in a different way. So you can do this through writing a story through third person. You can rewrite your own story through first person. And it's a really empowering way to heal through your trauma. And songwriters can do this through writing songs. Writers who write like novels and short stories can do this that way. It can also be like letters or
self-insert fan fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've definitely read some fanfic that I'm just like, I'm so glad you're working through this with us right now.
Oh, sometimes. You know. And it's like, it's valid. It's a valid and honestly healthy way.
Honestly, I didn't know that was like an actual like proven thing. It makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. My memoir class that I took in college, that shit was processing.
Yeah. And I personally, I do a lot of writing to process things. So I wanted to mention that. I wanted to mention how healing this song must have been. And also how now she's in her 30s, you know, so she gets to look back on this as an adult and retell the story with a whole new view on it, and she gets to tell it the way she wants to tell it.
And the other thing that's amazing about her getting to tell it now is that at the time that this came out, nobody was on her side. Everybody was, Taylor's a slut, Taylor dates everybody. Like, it was so popular to hate Taylor and to look down on her for like dating people. And now, like, the tides have turned. Like you talked about, there's like a resurgence of people being like, yeah, it is kind of weird to date somebody who's like 9-10 years younger than you when they're a teenager.
Yeah.
And like that idea of like, now she gets to tell her story and she can tell it honestly without the fear of everybody being like, oh my God, you're being so dramatic. You're so overstating it. You're being over dramatic, blah, 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 like that. She would have gotten, if she had released this version of All Too Well at the time, it would not have like been received nearly as well as now, like publicly. She could not have released this when Red came out.
I'm so glad she released it, and I'm so glad she did it the exact way she did.
Yeah, with complete, and so good. Okay.
It's so good.
So now
So for the breakdown, there's a quote that plays at the very beginning of the short film before the song starts. So basically it opens with a quote from Pablo Neruda.
Famous poet.
Yes,
best
famous
known
poet.
for his love poems. He has like a little booklet. It's in every like Barnes and Noble everywhere.
Yeah. And so the quote is, "Love is so short, forgetting is so long," which kind of sets the tone for this entire thing.
Especially because, I mean, the refrain throughout is, "I remember it all too well."
Yes. And she's still remembering it and reflecting on it all these years later. But that quote was also included in the liner notes of the original Red album.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
And so right before the song starts, they're lying in bed. She says, "Are you for real? I feel like maybe I made you up." And they're cuddling, they're facing each other. It's very intimate. It seems very happy. And she just can't believe she's with someone so incredible and that he chose her. Like, she feels so special that he chose her and how it's all what she always wanted. And then there's that amazing first shot of him walking through the front door. The camera's from her perspective, and then it spins and you see her, and then she takes off the scarf and leaves it on the banister.
Oh.
That shot, amazing. The song starts, cat.
And paralleling what you just said about like it starts from her perspective and then swings around and kind of goes into third person. The way that she starts with, "I walked through the door with you," they're both entering the story and the song together. Like, they're equals. Like, I walked through the door with you, not like behind you, next to you, whatever. Like, the lyrics are saying we're entering this from the same point. But then in the music video, you see the juxtaposition of actually he's going through first because he's ahead of her emotionally and agedly.
Okay, I'm getting chills already.
Something about it felt like home somehow. The idea that like when you're with the person that you love, anywhere you go, even if it's like a new place and you're not comfortable, you're with them, so you know you have somebody to lean on. And so every place, you know, the whole saying of like, when I'm with you, I'm home. Like,
Yeah. And I also love how that one line, she's like, something about it, just like somehow, like she doesn't have the words to explain it because she's like, she is so young. She's never experienced this before.
exactly. Like, this song is just like the epitome of like your first real grown-up heartbreak, and how like it's more devastating than your first love heartbreak because like that you still like have that naivety and like stars in your eyes and stuff, and this is like, I'm grown up, I kind of vaguely understand how the world works, and like ouch, more ouch,
Big ouch.
because you're thinking more about the future in like a real concrete way. I left my scarf there at your sister's house. It's not a scarf, it's a metaphor. Maggie Gyllenhaal
metaphor,
was
you
asked
see.
in a interview about the scarf, and she was like, "I don't know anything about this scarf. Stop asking me if I have the scarf. I don't have it."
Are we going to go into what the metaphor is later?
So
or no?
a lot of people think that the metaphor is like her virginity, but I think that's weird.
It's weird
to talk about. And I also don't think that's true. I don't want to talk about Taylor Swift's sex life. I'm going to be real with you.
Me neither.
It's weird. It's a weird thing that people feel so comfortable talking about online. I think it's more like what I said before of like, this is her first grown-up relationship. This is like, she's still got stars in her eyes and stuff, but like, this is the first relationship she was in where she felt like, oh, maybe this is what it's like to be like an adult and be in love and like have a future with somebody, which is kind of leaned into in this like next verse.
And she's been asked about it so much, and she finally was just like, of course it's a metaphor, but it's not. I think the metaphor is that he still has something to remember her by, which is the theme of the whole song. Like, I don't know if it goes much deeper than that. I'm gonna be real.
And I think also like the thing of like, it's at your sister's house because it's like the first time that she's meeting his family, and like that's when you meet someone's family, like obviously that's like a big step in any relationship, and like that's the moment that she can see herself like fitting into his life. Cause like, I mean, we'll get into it later when they talk about it, but like the baby photos and like, she feels like she's a part of their family. She feels like maybe this is it. Like that's the scarf metaphor to me. You've still got it in your drawer even now. The relationship is over, even though he's the one that ended things. He still holds on to that piece of her. He's tucked it away though, something to pull out when he's not feeling good, or like he is feeling that fondness and he wants to like remember it. But it's not a big part of his life anymore. And Genius kind of informed that last little bit. And then after that, I just stopped looking at Genius because I was like, there's too many notes here and they're all about Jake Gyllenhaal and I don't care about him.
Yeah.
Your sweet disposition and my wide-eyed gaze. She was innocent, the wide-eyed gaze, but he had a sweet disposition. So he wasn't actually sweet. He was just acting sweet as like a personality trait. It's like a way that he's being. But her personality, or her but her innocence is like actual, like her wide-eyed gaze, like she's looking around, she's like, oh my God, look at all of this. And he's just like acting sweet until like he can't hide it anymore when his casual cruelty comes out.
This is where we get into the first part of the music video. It's split into 7 parts, and this one's called An Upstate Escape. And my first note is, oh my God, we live upstate.
We do live upstate. Upstate New York, shout out. I actually, I wrote upstate New York represent, even though she's probably talking about downstate like a true New York City resident.
Yeah. But that's fine. We can have
Albany,
this. We can keep this. In this whole section, it really depicts the music video in a way that I think we all imagined. It's just very fall. It's very autumnal. They're driving in the car, getting lost upstate. Like, it's exactly what she's saying. They're laughing. It seems very light. They seem happy together. Then they're walking through the woods, and she's like piggybacking on him.
It's so cute, and she's so innocent.
Yeah, that's something that kids do, you know?
It's giving camp counselor.
It is. And then they have the really long spinning makeout session that is 20 seconds long.
Yeah.
And
I can picture it after all these days.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
It's weird. It was the first time where I was like, oh God, the age difference. I don't like it. And then my last note for this section is, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you love bombing.
It is so love bombing.
More on that later.
My next note about, and I can picture it after all these days. As the song gets older, this line hits like more and more because this heartbreak is so instrumental to her life that no matter how much time passes, she can still remember that day singing in the car upstate, falling in love. And I know it's long gone. The magic's not here no more. I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all.
Oh.
Tying back to that quote that you said, Taylor said about like, we're watching this coming of age story through this heartbreak. Because like she can keep going, she's living, she's, working, creating, but like she's not fine emotionally, and she's just trudging through because she's not fine.
When you say you're fine, but you're not actually fine, it's like,
this is fine. The dog and the on fire. That was Taylor. I wonder if Taylor sent that to like a friend like me.
Probably. I want to know what memes Taylor sends. One got sent to me the other day. It's a picture of a cat. It's a picture of you. No, it's a picture of a cat that's like on a counter like this, sitting like a human, and it just says, when you're singing the 35th verse to your cat about how much you love them.
Just like me, for real.
Taylor would send that meme.
She would.
That was a tangent on my tangent. God. Okay. So
my tangent.
When I discovered this song in high school, that I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all, was one of the lines that I was like, oh, like that really got me. Also, it's a running joke that FINE stands for effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
Is that with who? The internet?
That's a thing.
I didn't know that. I love that.
Yeah, I've heard it from multiple people, so I know that it's not
incredible.
Just
no, I didn't
me.
think you made it up. I think you're creative enough to make it up, but I didn't think you were making up that it's a thing.
Okay, continue.
Because there we are again. This is like, the chorus changes. Every single chorus is different, but that because there we are again is like consistent. Mm-hmm. And it's just that like flashbacks to these moments in the relationship. Flashing back to all these cute moments. You almost ran the red because you were looking over at me. My note says, for Abby, very reckless driver coded.
Oh, I love reckless driving. The song.
Not the activity.
No, I don't. I'm not a reckless driver, but I love that song. Lizzie McAlpine, I love your work.
Lizzie McAlpine is a Taylor Swift girly, I believe.
Yeah.
Because of everything about her.
Yeah, I don't even know for sure, but I know for sure. And
then Wind in My Hair, I Was There. It's gonna hurt.
Uh-oh, I'm ready.
Our song. That's just the connection to Our Song and that like innocent first love when she was 14 dating an older boy, and now she's Wind in My Hair, driving in the car, but now it's fall, she's grown up. She's still gonna get heartbroken though.
I can't believe you've done this. I feel like, did you choose, because we covered Our Song last week.
I did not purposely choose that at all. And in fact, I don't think that I would have had this note if we hadn't just covered Our Song.
Wow.
Verse 3, I just put a crying emoji next to it. I don't know when the next part of the video starts.
The next part is at the dinner table, so I think we still got some lyrics to go.
Photo album on the counter, your cheeks were turning red. Used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin-size bed. just like that moment of like going to meet your like partner's family, and you know, the mom's like, oh my God, look at these like embarrassing baby photos. Just like so classic, like again with the universal specifics that Taylor's so good at in like a lot of her breakup songs. And like, you know, her partner's being embarrassed, but like she's loving it. It's so taught me about your past, thinking your future was me.
Oh.
So she thinks that he's like investing all this knowledge and stuff in her to like, I don't know, bring her up to date on his life so that you could figure out, you know, how you got to where you are and where you could go in the future.
That line also reminds me of that line in Renegade, which I discovered recently and listened to a lot.
Fair enough.
She says, make me your future history. So anyway,
ouch.
Carry on.
You were tossing me the car keys. Fuck the patriarchy. I think this part is so funny. Every time I hear this line, all I think of is the reaction videos to All Too Well 10-minute version, because this is the first line that deviates from the original.
Yes.
And
it starts with that.
And people were like, you know, think your future is me. And they go to sing the second pre-chorus, and then she goes, and you were tossing me the car keys. And like, I just envision like all of these different reaction videos where people are like, like freaking out.
Also, we knew that we were going to get an F word in there
because it was explicit. And
yes.
this and then there is a merch item. I don't know if it's still available, but it was a car key chain.
I have it.
That says, you have it?
I do.
That's incredible. It says, fuck the patriarchy. And this is another inversion of Debut. That stupid old pickup truck you never let me drive. He's not like her old like country boyfriends. He's so cool in LA and modern. He says fuck the patriarchy, but he's still the same shitty kind of guy that Picture to Burn is about. Like he still, you know, manipulates her and like breaks her heart. So
that's the thing. He's spreading this message that he is the type of person to go against like the typical patriarchy norms, but he is just as bad, if not worse.
And then keychain on the ground. So like he tosses her the car keys and she's like not ready for it. And
sorry.
Drops him. And then in the short film, do you want to talk about that little
okay.
moan? Yeah,
I think now we're getting into the first crack in the glass. So they're at dinner with his friends and he's the life of the party. He's making everyone laugh. Taylor, in the behind the scenes, she's like, and the punchline to your joke is, and it was my foot. And he had to say that and then everyone laughs. I just thought that was kind of funny. I was like, Taylor, you couldn't have come up with a better punchline. But anyway, everyone's drinking wine, including him. He's got his glass like sloshing in his hand. And her glass is on the table and it's full. She hasn't touched it. And it's just a reminder that like she can't even legally drink yet.
And like, does she even like the wine that they're drinking? Or is she like just trying not to get drunk and be the weird young girlfriend?
Right.
Like,
and she looks so grown up the way that she's dressed. Like she's got like a black turtleneck on, I think. Her hair is really sleek. Her makeup is done super well. But she's still, you can see the nervousness on her face where she's just like, I don't really fit in here. And so she reaches for him and there's nothing there. She reaches for his hand as like a comfort because he's the one that's beside her through this all. And he drops it. And I wrote, actually, it's worse than a drop because in the behind the scenes, originally Dylan O'Brien like threw her hand away and he was kind of making a joke of it. And then Taylor was like, no, it's a deliberate action. And it's the way that he does it, so casually cruel, where he sees her hand, he like flips it on the table and gives it a little pat. It is so condescending. It is so like that little movement where it's like, he's like, no, sweetie, not now. I don't have time for you. And I hate it so much. So back in the car in the woods, that's where we were just talking about with the lyrics. They're trying to create that same magic, but he's really angry. He's throwing things. He's yelling. He walks away. He leaves her at the car. He throws the car keys. They're on the ground. And she's watching him and she goes into the car alone. So it's like a really big change from that scene we saw at the beginning of them laughing in the car upstate.
And are they in the same outfits or are they different outfits? It's like, is it the same day?
I don't know. I don't think it was the same day.
Okay.
While he's on the phone, I was trying to read lips as much as I could during this. And listen, Taylor got one F word, so I get one too. He says a lot of them. He goes, it's my fucking career on the phone.
Because I thought that his thing is that he's like on the phone about his career and like about, you know, his agent, whatever.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I saw him say. There were a lot of F words.
Because Because he angry.
And then there's a shot of him looking back at her, and you just see on his face, like, I think that's the moment where he decides that he's going to have to break up with her. Like, that's just the look I get, where he looks at her and she's like, you're so young. And I have a whole career, and I'm a whole grown-ass man, and you're just like a little kid.
And also, like, another thing, if we're going with, like, the parallels of where Taylor was at that time, Taylor won how many Grammys by that point?
Mm-hmm.
She's the youngest Grammy ever for Album of the Year.
The youngest Grammy. She was a grandma at the time.
She's not just a mother. She's a mother is grandmothering. But like she's so successful, and like his career, he's not as successful as she is, and like a lot of people cannot handle when their partner is more successful than they are, because they're insecure little bitches.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the last note and then the argument. I'm gonna let you talk for a while, and then I'm gonna get into the argument scene.
Let me finish.
Deviates. I'm gonna let you finish. But the last note I have is there's a shot of them in the car where their foreheads are pressed together, and it's like this really intense moment. He's like grabbing her neck, and he's like really intense about it, and she's just like kind of looking him up and down. It's so good. Their acting is so good. But someone on TikTok, I think, pointed out that it's very similar if you cut him out to the original cover of Red, where you see her profile with the hair hanging in front of it.
Oh.
And it's staged exactly the same way.
That's incredible. Taylor is a mastermind.
She is a mastermind.
So I was thinking on the drive down, anytime now he's going to say it's love. He never called it what it was. When they're actually together, he never said he loved her, even though she loved him and she was very certain that he loved her back. And she was right, because he did eventually say that he loved her, but only after they'd broken up and they were dead and gone and buried.
Mm-hmm.
Check the pulse and come back swearing it's the same after 3 months in the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Another note I wrote just for you. Buffy season 6 reference.
Thank you for that note.
It was like 3 months in Buffy too, right?
Yeah, probably around that long.
Wow.
But like quick, I don't know if you mentioned either of these things, but it just reminds me of previous songs that we've covered. Say Don't Go, I think, where she says I love you, he says nothing back.
Which she wrote after this. But
yeah. So like a very similar thing. Gosh, there was another thing that I was thinking of and I can't remember. So
fair enough. That after 3 months in the grave, like they've been broken up. He says, I love you to get her back, and like is acting like it's going to be the same relationship as it was when they're first together. But like when you break up with someone and then get back together, there's going to be like a difference in how it is, because you have that like distrust level of like, are you going to break up with me again? Like things aren't as like pure and innocent as they were. I reached for you, but all I felt was shame. And I was thinking about like, there's that internal shame of like, why am I getting back together with this person who broke my heart? And then also like thinking about telling like your friends or something like, yeah, we got back together. It's like, you got back together with the dude who made you feel like you wanted to die like 2 months ago? Like, dude, what? And then you held my lifeless frame. He's holding her. She's physically there. Mentally, she's checked out.
Yeah.
Just feeling shame instead of love and like safety and passion like there was before. And then the pre-chorus, I know it's long gone. There's nothing else I can do. I forget about you long enough to forget why I needed to.
Oh, that line is also a banger.
You start getting distance from the relationship, and then you start like kind of romanticizing it again. And then you're like, wait, no, I need to forget. Like, I need to remember the bad things too, because if you just think about the good things, then like, yeah, you're going to get back together and the same issues are going to pop up again.
Which I think is interesting why she takes a break around this time to have the full fight scene.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I have to remember the bad things too.
Yeah, I think this is where the fight scene happens, is this break in the lyrics.
Okay. Let's get into it. This fight, it kind of makes me physically ill.
That's so real.
It was really, really hard for me to watch. That's why this is the main reason why I haven't watched this music video again.
Yeah, because it's...
Allegedly, most of this was improvised. So credit, again, to the actors.
Yeah.
They got the assignment.
They understood the assignment. They were told the vibes, and they went for it.
So I'm going to walk through this argument.
Let's walk through it.
It's bad. So firstly, she's washing the dishes from his freaking dinner party. Because once again, she's like, I'm a grown up. I'll take care of this party that you threw at your house with your freaking, like, I hate that. Do your own dishes, Brandon. And she's being really quiet. She's not saying anything. She's not causing a scene at all. And he goes, why are you pissed off? Like, he initiates this conversation where she hasn't done anything.
And also, like, if he actually cared about her feelings and could tell that something was wrong, he'd be like, hey, like, you seem off. Like, what's up?
Yes.
Why are you pissed off? Like, he's immediately, like, ready to fight. Like, he doesn't want to have a conversation about it. He wants to argue.
And I wrote that the reason he's like, she's pissed off at me is because she's not feeding his ego and talking about how wonderful him and his friends are.
Yeah.
Because that's what he wanted. He wanted his friends to go away. She's washing the dishes and she goes, God, your friends are so great and you were so charming and I love you. Like, that's what he wanted. And instead, she's being quiet. And he's like, why are you so pissed off? I hate you, Brandon. And so she's like, I'm not pissed off. And he goes, well, you're acting like you're pissed off. And it's like, because he brought it up in that way, now it feels like her being angry is incorrect. And that she's in the wrong for having a negative response to his shitty actions. Which is something that women feel a lot.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, his shittiness is now her problem.
Yes. Like, how dare you be upset over the shitty thing I did to you? That's the vibe.
Exactly. You're hurting me by being upset.
Yeah, basically. He really just turns this whole thing around on her, and he's the one that escalates it. He just keeps it going. He calls her ridiculous. He downplays her feelings. He says she has no reason to complain because nobody was mean to her. His friends are nice. And so then she brings up, she's much more mature than him, because she says, I didn't like how you acted. She doesn't say you're an asshole. She doesn't say you're a bad person. She says, I didn't like how you acted in that moment. That's all she says. That is the only declaration. And he immediately throws back an accusation about her actions, then calls her feelings bullshit over and over. So now she's seen as the hysterical one when he's the one that escalated the situation.
And it's also like she's being very like, I didn't like the way you acted. And he's like being all angry and like, oh, you're pissed off. You're pissed off. And like, yeah, if somebody keeps telling me that I'm pissed off, I'm going to get pissed off. Because if I wasn't before, now I am.
I want to quote Jack Black in School of Rock where he goes, I didn't get no allowance today, so now I'm really ticked off. If anyone has seen School of Rock, you know. It's a great movie.
Continue.
Okay, sorry. I just have to add moments of levity because this really hurts. Okay.
Fair enough.
So then she mentioned the dropping of the hand, and he starts doing that gaslighting. It's, no, that didn't happen. I don't remember that happening. That didn't happen. I don't remember it, so you can't attack me over it. Like, she's not allowed to attack him over it because he doesn't remember. That's freaking bullshit. He didn't even notice such a pivotal thing for her. And again, that's why I wrote, he's casually cruel. So then she says, oh, you know what? I'm going to have multiple F words this episode because this is important. She says, you're making me feel fucking stupid. And he says, holy shit. I don't think I'm making you feel that way. I think you're making yourself feel that way. He's literally blaming her for everything.
Ugh.
And he's like, you're holding me hostage over something I don't even remember. Like, she's being so dramatic about this. And it's like, she's only raising her voice because that's the only way that she can be heard. And he's not listening, and he's calling her insane.
And also it's like, you know, she said like, I didn't like the way you acted. And he's like, what are you talking about? So she gives a specific example and he's like, I don't remember that specific moment. So your entire argument is bullshit. Like, it's so.
I hate it. I hate it.
Dylan O'Brien's a great actor because I want to punch him in the face in the scene.
Yeah, because Dylan O'Brien, like, literally, I love him so much. I have a TikTok saved to my phone where he like tries to save a fly that was caught in his water, and then the fly dies and he cries. Dylan O'Brien, I love you. And the fact that this music video, I hate him so much. And that just goes to show how great he is. So then he says, I haven't seen these people in 10 years in reference to his friends. And just putting that in perspective, that 10 years ago, she was 10 years old and he had these friends that he was hanging out with. 10 years later, he still has these friends.
Yeah.
So it just puts that age gap in perspective.
I haven't seen these people since they were your age.
Oh, God. Okay.
Which also, like, weird. It's always uncomfortable when you're like around somebody's friends like during a like catch up like that, because you know that there's no possible way to like be in on all the inside jokes and all the history. Like it's such an awkward, like if you're seeing someone for the first time in 10 years, it's weird to bring your like partner. I I feel like, unless you have like other people there that your partner knows, like to just throw them in with that when you know there's going to be like a ton of history discussed and like, oh my God, where have you been for the last 10 years? And like, you know, your partner isn't going to be able to participate in that.
Yeah.
And like, then also not actively making it easier for them to like be in it is like, it's weird.
And it's so jarring to have that again in comparison of her walking into her sister's house and having it feel like home and feeling really accepted. And then meeting his friends and just feeling so completely out of place. Like everything changed. Everything has changed. So then he's just like, well, I had a great night and now this is the night. Now we're fighting. Now it's ruined. Like,
she didn't start this fight. You started this fight.
It genuinely makes me so upset to watch.
Kind of reminds me of Stay, Stay, Stay.
Oh, yeah.
You throw, like, I said we should never go to bed without a fight, with a fight unresolved. You came in wearing a football helmet and said, okay, let's talk. Again, her trying to be the bigger person and him making it a joke.
Yeah. Oh, he does that so much. So then the camera does this little focus on the dishes. And that just reminded me of when you're like trying to keep your composure. So you're focusing on a task. So I really liked that cinematography, that like choice. And so then again, it's, you didn't look at me the entire night. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, again, it's nothing. He's like, but, oh, and also when he says, what are you talking about? He's laughing. He's going, what are you talking about? Like, that is so crazy that you're saying that. That's so stupid. That's such a little, like, why are you, yeah, you're making the entire night about you. And it's like, no, she's expressing a feeling that she didn't even, like, he's the one that pressed for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, this didn't have to ruin the night. He's the one that's making it a whole thing.
But then he wants to blame it on her because it's not his fault that the night's ruined. It's her fault because, you know, It's not him being a shitty partner and not paying attention to his girlfriend. It's her fault for not being something to pay attention to.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I'm taking so much time on this, but it's like,
no, it's important.
It's important. It's a 5-minute argument of pain. He calls her selfish. And I wrote that when we see someone older than us, when we have someone older than us look at us and tell us we're crazy or tell us things, there's an innate part of ourselves that believes it because they're older and wiser. They would know. And it's like,
especially when somebody that you trust, like that you love, if they're saying this, like, even if you think they're wrong, there's still a part of you that's like, but are they wrong all the way? Am I being crazy? Is it a little bit my fault too? Like, ugh.
And then she's looking at him and he says, don't look at me like that. That's so fucked up.
Because she's just looking at him like trying not to cry.
Yes.
Like, and her expressing her emotions. He's like, don't do that. Don't put your emotions on me. It's like, well, then maybe don't be a dickwad.
And then she turns around to like take a minute and it goes to his face and you see this look on his face where he's like, he decides to swallow his pride and be like, okay, I'll forgive her this time. And he goes behind her, he comforts her, he grabs her. He's making a joke out of it and he's going like, he starts with like an I'm sorry. And he's like, I'm sorry, like joking about it until she starts to laugh, downplaying the whole argument. And you can kind of see her break and forgive him and smile. And then he goes,
because she doesn't want to fight. She never wanted to fight. She just like, he asked and she answered truthfully.
Yes.
And that's not what he wanted.
And then right after you see the look on her face where she's like, okay, I made such a big deal out of it. And he goes, I'm sorry I dropped your hand. And you just see her face fall again. And then she says, I'm embarrassed. I wanted to be like, girl, get out of this relationship. Get out. That breaks my freaking heart.
Because also then he made it like, my friends were all so cool and you were embarrassing me. Like, you're just being this like weird little immature girl that I'm dating. And it's like, well, if you don't want to date someone who's less mature than you, then maybe you stay in your age range, your bracket.
Yeah. And then my last note on this argument is narrative form, ladies and gentlemen. The forgiveness feels so sweet because the argument was so hard. And so after, it feels like the relationship is stronger and it's even harder to escape because look what we've already been through. Like, we can get through this too. And we can get through this fight and the next fight and the next fight. And that's how these toxic cycles happen.
All right. Second chorus. There we are again in the middle of the night. We're dancing around the kitchen in the refrigerator light. Cutting to that, like, it's just like such a cute little like sweet image. It's like quiet intimacy, casual romance, beauty in the domestic, and to kind of parallel an offshoot from Bejeweled, like familiarity breeding contentment instead of contempt. Like that cute little thing of like, oh, we're up so late, like we're gonna grab a snack, whatever, and like, oh, don't turn on the lights, like it's so late, and just like dancing in the kitchen and like being all cute. Like it's such a cute, sweet image. And then you kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath.
I think this might be my favorite added lyric in the 10-minute version.
Because they both had each other. They both were keeping each other, but they didn't have the same versions of the other one. He had someone committed to him, ready to bear her heart and love him, and she had someone keeping her like a secret, quick to leave her, only ready to say I love you after they'd broken up as a tactic to get her back. Sacred prayer, and we'd swear to remember it all too well. Yeah.
I'm like dissociating.
That's so real.
It's just that this is such an exhausting
Like, they both
song.
They both swore to remember their moments together. And she knows she does, but you know, does he care the same way? She's been assuming he has, and I'll get into it more a little bit. Okay. But like, they're also swearing to remember it. Their sacred prayer, like it's sacred. Yeah. It's holy ground. It's not holy ground because it's it is same old. It's holy ground, and now she's saying that she's going to remember it and saying, we swore we're going to remember it all too well.
The shot in the film of them dancing around the kitchen in the refrigerator light is also so beautiful. And I wanted to point out, it's at 6 minutes and 57 seconds in the video. There's a shot of the two of them kissing. And on her side, there's a warm yellow light streaming in through the window. And on his side, there's like a cool blue light that's flickering.
From the fridge.
Yes. And so like, knowing Taylor Swift, that's a very intentional choice of the differences between their feelings for each other.
Time for hit the button. The bridge. I want to talk about the maybes first. Maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much. Maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. It's that reoccurring theme we've talked about in so many of Taylor's love and breakup songs where she's trying to guess her partner's motivations. This is kind of the pinnacle of it. It's the three different versions of who's to blame. It's maybe we got lost in translation, so maybe neither of us are to blame, maybe both of us are to blame. Maybe I asked for too much, maybe it's my fault. Maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. It's your fault.
Oh, that was a good note.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe. Like, because she doesn't know. She doesn't have that closure. She doesn't understand why it ended. So she's saying these maybes, and it could be, it's so good. I love Taylor Swift. You call me up again just to break me like a promise. This line, I mean, this is in the original. This is just like a iconic line. And I can literally never listen to this line ever again without picturing Sadie Sink sobbing in
with
bed.
With her full body sobbing,
wrapped up around herself, just crying.
It's like I have chills right now, and also I want to cry.
That's so real.
Oh, before we get there, just a couple other quick things from the video. There's a shot of them back in bed like in the beginning where they're facing each other, except now they're naked. And also then there's a shot of them doing crosswords together in bed, which is very domestic. It's like a very domestic thing that you see grown-ups do. And I just wrote like, that's what love is, right? That's the end goal, and that's where she's heading. She just got there early. So it feels like she skipped a few steps. For the breaking point scene, that's where the breakup happens.
Yeah.
When he breaks up with her in the film, she's wearing his shirt, which means...
You know how men do that thing where right before they break up with you, they have sex with you first? I haven't experienced this because I've never dated a man like that. But I've heard it from a lot of friends where that's like a reoccurring thing that men do is like they like sleep with you one last time and then break up with you like right afterwards because they know it's not going to happen again probably.
Yeah. It's rough. It's really rough. And so, my next note, I wrote a lot more about these next few shots, but I think that we've already covered it pretty well. So continue with lyrics.
So casually cruel in the name of being honest.
Oh my God.
2 notes here. One is the connection to Mr. Perfectly Fine, which obviously she had written like earlier. So this idea of like casually cruel is already in her mind, but Also the idea of like hiding cruelty behind the guise of just like being honest, like it's so manipulative because it's like, oh, you want the truth? Like this is the truth, you know, like I'm just telling you the truth about like how I feel right now. But like, you know that you are being so cruel to this person who loves you.
You can see it on my face in the video just now. I had a realization that hurt me personally. Cruelty wins in the movies. I've got 100 thrown out speeches I've almost said to you. And like the shot in the movie of her trying to write on a typewriter and throwing the pages away. And she's a crumpled up piece of paper.
Lying there.
For the shot, there's a shot of her like at a dinner. It doesn't look like a party. It's like a blank space.
It looks like a gallery to me.
Yeah, like a gallery. And she's there. And she's walking around alone. And it just, like, she doesn't fit in anymore. She doesn't fit in with everyone else. She's small and young. And she doesn't have her boyfriend to bridge the gap anymore.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, it's like everywhere that she goes is like that dinner party all over again. They say all's well that ends well. And we know, love her. Mm-hmm. Sad face. I'm in a new hell every time you double cross my mind. I love the way that she takes like these like common phrases like call me up again, cross my mind, and like just tweaks them a little bit to just like make them hurt. Like you double cross my mind because he's so back and forth. He's so hot and cold throughout their relationship. And now like post breakup when we know they had an on again, off again from the rest of the songs on Red. So like he's double crossing your mind. He's back and forth. You said, if we had been closer in age, maybe it would have been fine. Oh. Maybe don't date somebody who is almost a decade younger than you if you want somebody who is in the same maturity level.
And he knew that going into it.
Exactly. It's not like she's like, I'm 30. Like, no, there's no way that he thought she was older than she was.
Girls your age know better.
That's why I chose Vampire as my hint song, because that made me want to die. Mood. Us this entire episode. The idea you had of me, who was she? Blank space. That idea of her playing on public perception. Like, did he just think that she was the person that the media made her out to be? Like, how can you think that after all of the things that they went through together? A never needy, ever lovely jewel whose shine reflects on you. We talked about this in the Bejeweled episode where in Bejeweled, she's reclaimed her shine and is like shining for herself. In this, she's like realizing that he wanted her shine on him and only him. Like, it's a very classic manipulator tactic of like, I just want you to make me look better. Like, I don't care about anyone. I don't want you to like make anybody else look better. Just me. The weeping in a party bathroom, some actress asking me what happened. You. That's what happened. You. The universal girl experience of getting drunk after you get dumped and crying to a stranger in a bathroom about your ex.
Okay.
It's so real.
The women's bathrooms at bars at bars mostly, when everyone's kind of tipsy / drunk, are some of the most positive, supportive, loving spaces you'll ever be in.
So amazing.
Great. I'm glad someone was there to comfort her. Also, that hurts.
It does hurt. This line, I got a doozy. You who charmed my dad with self-effacing jokes, sipping coffee like you're on a late night show. When she met his family, she felt like, oh my God, I'm home. Like, I feel so comfortable. I feel like I can be myself. I feel like I'm seeing him. When he met her family, he put on his public persona, late night talk show, like fake ass demeanor, his sweet disposition. He wasn't genuine and real when he met her family the way that she was when she met his. Yeah,
he was just charming. He was just putting on.
He was doing a performance. She was being genuine, and that's like their whole relationship is him being performative to get what he thinks she wants, and she's just being herself.
Am I gonna cry? I might.
Fair enough.
I might.
Then he watched me watch the front door all night, willing you to come. And he said, it's supposed to be fun, turning 21.
Okay, I might cry.
The moment hearing this line for the first time, I went, oh, I get why 22 was such a big, beautiful birthday for her, because the moment I knew was about her 21st birthday. And this line is as well, of her waiting for her partner to show up for her birthday party. And he just doesn't come.
Okay, this is my first time crying on the podcast, because there's also there's just something about dads comforting their daughters, where he's like, you're supposed to be having a good time tonight. We're like, you know that he's sad about it. Okay, sorry, I have to collect myself. But
it's so real. It reminds me of, I'm trying to think if I want to tell a personal story here. Do you remember that time that you took me to a half marathon that I was running because my parents were out of town? And this half marathon was awful. It was in January. It was an industrial park parking lot. And I was running like 4 laps. And literally the way that I got through it was that I convinced myself that my partner was going to show up and surprise me at the end, even though I knew that wasn't going to happen. Just a fun little tidbit of why now I'm crying too.
It's a really rough one. And while we're on that subject, the little fun facts I have. So firstly, this part of the movie, there's first, she's at a table with him, the character of him, and her dad. Also, her dad in this short film is played by Sean Levy, the executive producer of Stranger Things.
Huh. Who's also friends with Taylor.
What?
Yeah, Sean Levy and they were just spotted. He went to one of the football games with her, I think.
Okay, well, I mean, y'all know that this is the crossover of the century for me, and this made me really excited that was that it was Sean Levy. So the shot is her and him and her dad at the table. They're all laughing. Like, she's smiling. She has this genuine smile. The camera zooms back, and then as it zooms in on her birthday, you can see that her smile is fake.
So fake. And she's just and she's looking around the room, and he's not
there. And Taylor put a lot of time into this one shot. Like, in the behind the scenes, it takes up a good portion of it, where she wants to make sure that she gets this right. And the acting was right. Sadie nailed it, of course. The cinematography was great. Like, everything about it hurts.
Big ouch.
For this next part where she's in bed, she's like lying on one side, she flips, and then it's night. Like, it was morning and then it was night. And I just wrote, that whole part is new moon coded.
So new moon coded.
And it's also so, like, there's a reason why that hits so much. This is called the reeling in the film, by the way. There's a reason why that hits so much in New Moon, because we've all been there.
Where it's just like the months blur together because it's just all pain.
Yeah.
And also we've talked about this in a past episode, but like the gap between, like, it's supposed to be fun turning 21, and then there's like an instrumental for like 15 seconds, I want to say. I'm making up that number, but like there's a pause and then it's time won't fly. And it's like, yeah, you just extended the song by like making you sit in that hurt. And then it's like, time won't fly. You know that whoever's listening just spent that entire little instrumental portion thinking about it. They're not like distracted. Like, you can't be distracted at that point. That line is devastating, and then time won't fly. I'm paralyzed by it.
Yeah, because there's the recovery from that.
I'd like to be my old self again, but I'm still trying to find it.
Oh my God.
But there's no, like, after you go through that big heartbreak like that, there's no going back to who she was. And I connected this again to Bejeweled. We talked about, like, I can reclaim the land. You know, she's reclaiming the land, but it's never going to be what it was before. It's going to be this new version that has his mark on it. Like, that heartbreak is never going to go away. It'll heal, but there's still going to be that scar.
Oh yeah, she's going to carry this for the rest of her life. I'll be getting over you
my whole life. You keep my old scarf from that very first week, so it reminds you of innocence, and it smells like me. Also interesting that makes you realize, did she meet his family the first week they were dating?
Yeah.
Love bombing.
Yeah.
And even as he's moving on, he's still keeping this piece of her. He's holding on to that part of their relationship, the person he fell in love with, the idea of her that he fell in love with. He can't let go of her because he was her first great love, first great heartbreak, and doing that to someone, being that to someone, is not something you can just move past, even if you don't love them, and even if you never love them. If you have any sort of emotional existence, like, you can't forget the damage that you did to someone like that.
Yeah. The next part's called the remembering. It's pretty quick. And Brandon's back, and he's walking down the street, and it's flashing back to different parts of their relationship that he's reflecting on, the happy moments and also the sad moments. And then there's a shot at 10 minutes and 51 seconds where there's a Spider-Man kiss. I saw an interpretation of this on TikTok about the fact that the speculated actor was in Spider-Man.
No, his next girlfriend was in Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So there's a connection in that way. I'm not going to talk about that. Go look that up yourself. What I will talk about is that in Spider-Man, in the movie, when that happens, Mary Jane is kissing Spider-Man, who's a hero, but she doesn't really know what's underneath. He's wearing a mask. And so
yeah,
she didn't know who he was. He was wearing a mask.
He's wearing that sweet disposition.
Yeah.
There we are again when I loved you so. Back before you lost the one real thing you've ever known.
And that's when it's the Spider-Man kiss, too, because
she said
she's
that's
being
the
real.
Best, because also she's being real. He's wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm.
He's being this fake hero. And I kind of connected this to I Bet You Think About Me, and that idea of like she thinks that his friends are all like shallow, dumb LA type people, and like that's who he surrounds himself with. And that's why it would never work between them, because she was so genuine and honest and real. And he's never going to find someone like that again, because he doesn't seek people like that out. Like this was a like coincidence almost that they ended up together. And so he's never going to find that again, because he's never going to look for it purposefully.
Yeah.
And then you remember it all too well. Again, her creating this image of her ex mourning the relationship the way she is. I was never good at telling jokes, but the punchline goes, I'll get older, but your lovers stay my age. Boom, roasted. Reminds me of Leonardo DiCaprio, because we know that she like talks about him in The Man, and about how like the different perception of like women in relationships versus like men dating younger women. Also, Begin Again. I think it's strange that he thinks I'm funny because you never did, bitch.
There's a quote from a movie, a comedy, Dazed and Confused. It's said by Matthew McConaughey, where he says, "That's the thing about high school girls, man. I get older and they stay the same age." That movie came out in 1993 when her boyfriend would have probably been like 13, 14 years old.
And she was 4.
Yeah. And so I'm just thinking that like he probably saw that movie, loved it. Maybe he showed it to her and he never thought she was funny. And so she's making fun of a movie that he loves. I mean, this is all speculation on my part, but like, that's how I interpret that line, is she's like, this is this movie that you loved that I hated and you told me I wasn't funny because I didn't get it.
Yeah. I'm a soldier who's returning half her weight. I have kind of like 2 versions of this. There's like the one that's like after a breakup when you're just like can't function. So like you're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're losing weight, and like because you're just unhealthy. And then the other side of it, I think it might be a joke. Because there's that classic joke after a breakup that's like, oh, how do you lose like 190 pounds really quick? And then it's like you swipe to the next picture and it's just like you dump them.
Oh my God, she's making another joke.
She's making another joke.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Right?
Okay,
She's making another joke. She's never good at telling jokes, but like, here's a joke that you don't get because you're a bitch.
Wow.
Did the twin flame bruise paint you blue? State of Grace, twin fire signs. If Jake Gyllenhaal is also Sagittarius, December 19th. So if that's who this is about, you know. Just Between Us, did the love affair maim you too? This is where I get into this idea of like, she has spent the entire song saying like, you remember it, you're in pain, you kept my scarf because you remember me fondly. But like, this is where we see the truth. She doesn't know how he feels.
She doesn't know.
She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know if he's feeling this heartbroken feeling that she's projecting onto him. And she has spent the entire song convincing herself that he is as broken up about hurting her as she is about being hurt. But honestly, she doesn't know. And she wants to know. And she's never going to.
And she's also begging. She's like, just between us. I won't tell anyone if you admit that this affected you too. Like, just between us, please tell me this. I need it to have hurt you too.
That's that line. That is like the moment that like it hits that she's made up his entire emotional landscape throughout this entire song. She doesn't know.
Because she needs it. She needs it to be
She
that
needs
way.
it to be true.
Yeah.
She's like, this is why when you sent back all my things impersonally via mail, you didn't send back the scarf. It's not because you lost it. It's because you're keeping it as a remembrance. Because in the city's barren cold, I still remember the first fall of snow and how it glistened as it fell. That first snow is like magic. It's those big, thick, like flakes, because it's never really that cold out and you're all excited because you're like, oh my God, snow. Yay. It's really exciting the first couple times. And it's so joyful. And then until it hits that every day, and then it's gross. The snow is slushy. It's dirty. There's dog piss in it. Like it after it like sinks in, it's just barren, cold, ugly, sad, and it goes from like snow as this sign of like purity and innocence to like this sign of corruption and like loss of innocence, because it's the snow gets gross after it's been there for a couple days, like because people live in it, and then it's no longer beautiful anymore.
And that also reminds me of the line, "Are there still beautiful things?" from Seven. I'm sorry, I have to do it to him.
I only have one more note.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have anything else before the outro.
So just this last bit here, it's the epilogue, 13 years gone. So 13, Taylor Swift's favorite number. This is like, okay, this is a really crazy fact.
I'm excited for it.
Okay. I actually think that like for you in particular, it's going to be really surprising. So in the section of the music video, so the aged up version of Sadie Sink is actually just Taylor Swift in a red wig.
What? I knew you were gonna say it. I got it with the red hair. It was the brown hair. I didn't get it.
No, but okay, the way that I thought of that joke in the car, and I recorded a frantic voice memo. I was like, I need to make this joke.
This is the only time we've laughed like that the entire episode.
I needed a moment of levity after that, but okay. Taylor Swift in a red wig.
You're telling me that's Taylor Swift in a red wig?
You're telling me that chameleon?
Karma chameleon reference.
Karma is my red wig. So, okay. So one thing that I did see about this is it's nice that Taylor accommodated to the younger actor and didn't make the younger actor go blonde. Taylor went red.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Also, Red, the album for the red hair.
Makes
also
sense.
Cool. But then thirdly, I think that having a different hair color separates this story from being exactly her own story.
Yeah.
I think she's able to express it through the eyes of new characters.
The universality of that first big heartbreak.
Right. So she's doing a reading at this bookstore to a room full of young women. She's moved on. She's happier. She's stronger. And her story is a lesson to them. She does mouth all too well at the same time as the song, which I thought was nifty. The audience is representative of us who have grown up with Taylor's music and now see the dangers in a relationship like that, especially because like we were in high school when All Too Well 6-minute version came out, or 5-minute, whatever. And now as adults seeing it in a completely new way and having this extended version that adds so much more depth to an already incredibly deep song.
Yeah.
The last thing is that the cover of her book is very reminiscent of The Giving Tree.
Yes, it is.
Which is a story about a tree who gives everything up for a boy anytime he asks.
And then is left with nothing. But is still happy.
Yeah.
And the tree was happy is like the...
My mom hates that book so much. And honestly, I do too.
I give that book as a baby gift for like every baby shower I go to.
Why?
Because I want children to know pain.
Okay, well, I was a child who knew pain, and I wish I didn't.
I love Shel Silverstein.
Okay, well, you know what? That's good on you. We were a Dr. Seuss family.
That's fair.
That's my last note.
All right, my final note is on the outro, which is just very repetitive.
Mm-hmm. It's a ruminating.
Yeah, it's just repeating things she's already said, and that's like how it is in a breakup, because you repeat the same questions and moments and flashbacks and memories over and over again to yourself as you're like trying to figure out where things went wrong, whose fault it was, what you could have done better, what they could have done better, and then like once you know you let it go, the repetition stops.
Yeah. And the last shot is that Brandon, is standing outside looking in, watching her, and we don't see his face this time because she doesn't know him anymore. She doesn't know what face he has on now. And it doesn't matter because it's not his story, it's hers. I
have another note about the bookstore that I forgot to say.
And he's wearing a red scarf.
He's wearing her red scarf.
He sure is.
Because he kept it.
But once again, she doesn't actually know this is happening. I think it's wishful thinking.
Yeah. And we don't know if this is like an actual scene or if this is something she's imagining is happening.
Right.
But another thing I want to say about like her having the book about her experiences is about how like we've talked before about how she kind of like mythologizes. How do you say that word?
I don't know.
Mythologizes her own experiences for like her audience, and that's what she did with the book. And like she's just made it very clear that like this is like turned my life into folklore, into a story that other people like maybe they relate to it, maybe they don't, but like that's how it be.
It sure is.
And that, our friends, is All Too Well 10-minute version, Taylor's version from the vault.
We made it through.
The short film.
Did you have discussion questions?
I have one.
Okay.
What do you think it was like as part of Taylor Swift's band to witness her come in for Speak Now tour practice and write this? Just little 21-year-old Taylor comes in, picks up a guitar, and just plays, obviously not this super polished version, but like this song. How, like, I'm just imagining if like we were doing something and you were like, I just got to freestyle for a minute, and then you did this, I'd just be like, who do I have to commit murder against? Like,
yeah.
Like her parents were there. Cause like Andrea Swift has said before that like when she came up with it, she like turned to like the sound guys and was just like, please tell me that you recorded that. And he was just like, here you go.
Wow.
How, like, what do you think it was like to witness that?
Well, you know that it's special. You know that it's it. That's the moment. Like, this is known as one of Taylor Swift's best songs of all time, and for good reason. It's got something that not many songs have, and that's why it has broken records and won so many awards, and that's why
it's so beloved by
10
so
minutes,
many Swifties.
At 10 minutes long, we know every word, and we love every word, and every word is necessary and important and beautiful and painful.
I know. It was so hard not doing a note on every single line of the song because I had something to say about every single lyric, and I was like, I can't do that. I gotta hit the highlights.
I just think it's one of those things where you're witnessing magic happen. Like, obviously, you'd be concerned for her. I would have been concerned for who hurt you. But you're like, holy shit. This created something magical that's gonna impact a lot of lives in a, I don't want to say positive way. The song is very painful,
Cathartic
way.
All right, what's your discussion question?
How much of this video do you think is an exact recreation of what happened, and how much do you think is just like inspired by it and a new take on it?
Ooh. I feel like she probably included like specific moments that she remembers all too well, like those, like the refrigerator light, dancing scene, the like walking into the house. I think the moments that directly reflect what's in the lyrics, I think, are like her actual experiences, and then kind of the like other parts are making it more separated and like universal.
I just think it's interesting because she wrote this song about her own life. Like, that's confirmed. We know that. And to go back and make a film about it that she's directing, and like she's telling this young girl such specific things to feel. And that's an interesting thing for me to watch in like the behind the scenes, where she's like, this is how you feel. You have that chemistry with him, and you feel this way and you feel this way. And it seems so specific. And I'm just wondering how that must have felt for her and for everyone on set. Like, for Sadie to just be like, you went through this. It must have just been so emotional and so healing.
Yeah. Cause I think that's also a lot of it is that like, it might have not been the exact actions of things, but like it's the same feelings.
But good for her.
Good for her. It's a masterpiece. The song is a masterpiece. The short film is a masterpiece. I cannot wait to see whenever she makes a feature film.
Yes.
It'll be a while.
I'm so drained now. Are y'all drained? Go do some self-care. Get yourself like a nice, I always call it a $5 treat. So you can get a $5 treat, $5 or less. Do something for yourself. Take care of yourself.
Go like pet a dog. Have a cry. Don't listen to the song.
No. So that was a supersized episode, but I'm glad we talked about it. My hint song for next week is going to be Feather by Sabrina Carpenter.
And mine is Never Be the Same by Camila Cabello.
Wow.
So next week will be a little bit later.
Little bit
later. Maybe we'll laugh more than once throughout the episode.
But it was a good laugh.
It was a good laugh. And we're Swiftlore. Follow us on Instagram at SwiftlorPod.
And on TikTok at SwiftlorPod.
And go do something happy, please.
Please do. We care about y'all so much. Thank you for listening. It's been lovely to hear everybody talk to us.
A wonderful day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Pie 5.
Chris Pie 5.
All right, this time we're gonna one and done it. I believe in us.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, there's echoing.
Okay.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's what we got left in the tank. Bye.
Bye.